Alright, welcome to episode 49 of What is Civilization Started Over. In the last episode then, we saw a war occur here in Denmark, so the Danes are now gone, they've been conquered by the Swedish, down to just two democracies. We also saw a major war occur here in the Central Asian / Pakistani region, with the yellow, sort of mintish and orange countries all getting up on the lilac-y sort of country that's now moved all the way to Tibet, and another war in Indochina, and possibly something else, but I forgot about it anyway. Those are the main events. We also see the heightening of tensions down here in South Asia, as we can see the Pink Country join the Pentagon Alliance alongside the Southern Indians and whatever this country is, and then joining the Trapezium Alliance we had the Indians over here in the West. So yeah, heightening tensions over there. Nothing else with alliances in any other part of the world. But yeah, that's good. And today we've got some similar sorts of events, and let's start with those, I suppose. So, first off, we need to go to Sweden. What a surprise! What a surprise we have to go to Sweden. Anyway, the Swedish are, of course, going for a new conquest, and they have a lot of opportunities for places to attack, but of course, the Swedish will be attacking Finland. Yeah, they want that land back. So, not back, but they want to build their empire in this region and become stronger than Finland. So they send forces around the north, capturing this major city. The Finnish are very, very sad at this point. Their theocracy got overturned by a democracy as the peasants took control of the nation, which people didn't really like because the theocracy had been in power for ages, and, the democracy was very flawed, it was pretty bad. All the people running were very corrupt, and generally the Finns just weren't very pleased with how their country had turned out at this point. And they're happy with it before, though. So they lose a lot of their territory and their coast with Finland. People actually start to defect over to Sweden because they seem to like this country more. And in not too long, the Finnish capital is taken. All other surviving troops kind of just give in. Like, yeah, you know what? It's not really worth it. And in a peace treaty, we will see Finland fully annexed into the Swedish Empire. So Sweden has grown even more powerful, especially over here in this Nordic region, as they control like half of the Baltic Sea now. Sweden is massive, and they've definitely become one of the strongest countries in the world. I mean, they were 10th before, as we can see by looking at power rankings. They haven't changed an awful lot, but they have changed a little bit, with Turkey still in first. Is Turkey in first? Wow, well done, Turkey. Spain is in second, Poland is in third, India fourth, Bengal fifth, Korea is sixth, seventh is Orange China, England is in eighth, ninth is the Indigo country, and 10th is Sweden, although now at this point, Sweden might have moved like a lot further. Finland was definitely some good economic power there, and yeah, they should be doing quite a lot better. Speaking of places that should be doing better, but maybe aren't, we need to go down here to Poland. I hope I can get this border right, because Poland's having a civil war. Now, that's not very good. Civil wars aren't very fun, if you didn't know. Yeah, we start to see areas defect away from the Polish nation as they want to join this new German nation. This all kind of came about as the Polish started to neglect their colony. Ever since they took over the German Nova Scotia, sort of Canadian colony, the Polish haven't really done anything with it at all. They haven't colonized any more territory, and they just abandoned it. And the Germans see this as just a slight in how the Polish don't really care about the German populations. And then the Polish threw out a load of German people from power. These guys here in Slovakia, they are kind of, you know how there's people, whatever they're called, I don't remember what the name is, who are like Germanized Poles, between the border of Poland and Germany, Laurentia or something like that. Well, these guys are a bit like Polish Slovakians, kind of. So they have become much more intertwined with Polish culture during this time and just in general. So it's a lot easier for them to assimilate into Poland, and they've been getting much better treatment than the Germans, who held a much stronger national identity. And this has really been a bit of a problem for the Germans. So as the Germans got their jobs taken away, and they were just not favoured in business and stuff like that, they launched their own rebellion against the Polish, and the Polish, as you can see, are really failing against this. Now, they will hold on to the colony because they have defensive forces there, and this German rebellion doesn't really have the power to, go across the Atlantic Ocean and take over an entire colony. However, they do have the power to rise up and take over most of this German territory. So Poland is really failing to do this. It's kind of bad. Now they will make some counteroffensives. However, that's only really in the south where they have a lot of their forces, because right here in the north they are just failing to take these cities. They push over towards them, but it's not doing great. They've lost a lot of their industrial output from this stuff, because lots of where they got the industrial power from was Germany. However, German businesses weren't credited for their materials and things, and that meant that just went to the Polish businessmen who got a lot richer, and this has caused a lot of problems within the state. So in the end, we see one huge German counteroffensive occur, probably like 3 years into the Civil War. I'm gonna go through it pretty quick. I'm not very good at doing civil wars. It's like, I know they're gonna win eventually, or they're gonna lose eventually. Whatever happens, yeah, it's not very fascinating. So yeah, this is kind of how it goes. They settle on a sort of border like this, and in the end, with the Polish wanting to get some reparations and extra resources from the German state, which the Germans will agree to, they're going to go over to peace, and Poland will, for a little bit, Poland fully annex this and then not let it get its freedom at all. I'm only joking. That would be kind of funny though. No, what they're actually going to do is draw a new border and a peace treaty for this area. Now, I have got like a border that I wanted to put in place here. And I mean, yeah, I feel like I'm probably not going to draw it right. So this probably won't look as good as I had planned, which might mean that in the next episode we see the Polish and the Germans do a mysterious trade of land for some reason, just because they want to make the border better. So yeah, we'll see how that looks. Okay. The entire Holy Polish Empire is now German. Great. Yeah, this is alright actually. That might nearly be it. It's not horrible. It's not horrible, you know? There's just some of these bits where I'm a bit like, hey, I don't know about that. Yeah, is that better? Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. This is our new border here in Germany, however, and you should probably get used to this because this country might be sticking around for a while. I don't know. German country has been pretty important in history. History has told us. So we'll see what this one does. Yeah, it's not the same as the previous East German country, and that's because they create a slightly new national identity for themselves. I might just keep that border the same. But yeah, they have a lot of industrial power. They are not a top 10 power, but they're definitely kind of close. They don't have their own empire yet. They could try that in the future, though. You never know. I'm just not really sure on their borders. I feel like it's close, but it's not quite as I'd like it. Nah, we're just gonna leave it how it was. Alright, cool. So this is our new German country. Let's give it a capital city. Sorry for just wasting your time there for a second. I do love to do a bit of that. Anyway, they will be putting their capital city somewhere kind of far away from the Polish. Right here, maybe not in Hamburg. That doesn't seem like a wise idea if you think about where the Swedish are, but it's not a terrible idea. They're going to put it right over here. So the Germans now have their own country, and we'll see if they do anything in the future. I might just shift their color, like make it a little bit brighter. Yeah, that's kind of better, I think. And now we can head over to India, because we need to do a little event here in India. It's not going to be anything huge, but what we do see happening is the Southern Indians reach out to more of these countries around in this area, and as the Indians actually go on their own sort of conquest, they're going to get one country react to them, trying to reach out to them. As the Indians start to invade this small beige, maybe Punjabi country, this country is incredibly weak. They've lost so much power and influence and anything that they once had. So when the orange team invades in the north, yeah, you know they're done. And yeah, the orange team was a rebellion from them a few episodes ago, quite a few episodes ago. They lost. They once were red, the orange team, which is interesting. Fun fact: the orange team wasn't orange all the time. Yep, they take over this easternmost province, and the Indians will take over the remainder of the country since they actually worked for all of that territory. So yep, that country is now gone. This will spark people in the orange team to go, right, we might need to join this alliance. You know, if you look at ideology, we can see we're an absolute monarchy, and that country was as well. So maybe we might be in a bit of a dangerous position. We can also get rid of this country's little ideology block thing. You guys are a council still, so that's cool. But yeah, over to alliances. That's what I was doing. Because they're going to be, of course, joining the Pentagon Alliance. They wouldn't be allowed in the other alliance because it's basically like exclusively council countries. Where's the Pentagon? I can't find it. There we go. Yeah, so they joined that alliance. Nice. It's not like a super strong country, but it's definitely been on the rise in the past few episodes. If you look at cities, there's a few. And either way, it's land. It's a nation that can help. You know, it's all right. So there's that, and now we can look at some other events because I forgot all of them. No, don't worry. My mind is like a steel trap. I just love that expression because if it's not history, it's really not like a steel trap at all. If it is about history, I can probably kind of remember it. Yeah, they take over this Michigan Peninsula. I don't know if it's called that. I'm gonna say it is, and I guess it is now. And the English will also expand their colony further westwards into this general area, maybe Illinois, Kansas over here. I feel like Kansas and Colorado. We're doing about them at school at the moment. But yeah, they've got this weird parallel with the Irish colony, which won't be expanding very much. The Polish don't expand their colony. Yeah, they definitely don't want to do that now. They're like stupid Germans. They also hit a bit of a recession following that because a lot of their industrial output has been cut by the fact the Germans have gone away. Germany, of course, full of industrial capabilities, so it's kind of bad that they've gone. The Swedish will expand their own colony. They're not super pro-colonial, however, they like land, money, and being a strong country, so they're going to expand their colony regardless, taking it up into this region. The Koreans, nope, they're fine. But the Dutch will expand their own colony, so that's nice. They've taken over a lot of Mexico and some parts of other countries like Belize, Guatemala, and Okay, thanks for that. Belize, Guatemala, and El Salvador. But yeah, they're just mostly concentrated here in Mexico as they finally make their way onto the border with Ireland and their colony here in Texas. And yeah, that's pretty cool. You can look at the Dutch provinces, by the way, just because it's funny. Okay, that's religion. Why? Yeah, there we go. They've got some straight line provinces. Great straight line provinces. I can't wait to give these areas independence because the borders is just going to be so incredibly hideous. Like, look at some of the stuff that's in these areas. You just see this great straight line going across Sweden as well. I'm really proud of that. I didn't even notice that. Korea, less so, but yeah, it's good. Anyway, we can now head over to the Mediterranean Sea because we have a certain event happening over here as the Spanish will fund an ally of theirs in this area. That ally, of course, being the Blue Country, right over here, as the Blue Country will declare war on their ally to the south, the Orange Country. The Orange Country has definitely developed quite a lot. In recent times, they got all of this land back. They got this stuff back from the Carthaginians in episode 23. And then in episode whatever it was, when the Greeks lost, they got all of this territory back. And this land has been pretty developed by some of the strongest countries in the world. So the Orange team has actually become stronger than the Blue Country. How the Blue Country's received loads of investment and money and military stuff from the Spanish. So when this invasion occurs, the Blue team really starts to win. They move over to the twin cities of Naples, where lots of people live. And they also try to head down to the Taranto Peninsula, cutting off the peninsula because it's fairly autonomous. And they're like, I don't really want to work with you. They're kind of Greek over here. The Spanish help them to make a naval invasion, and they will surround this other remaining city over here. Taking that, they move into the peninsula and work their way down, taking the final city in that area before going down the sort of toe bit of Italy, all the way down into this one final battle where they take the remaining city. So pretty easy war, but yeah, that was pretty cool. And now we can see the Southern Inuits. Southern Italians really look like Southern Italians. That's exciting. As for ideology, that country was an absolute monarchy, just like the Southern Italians were. Hello. See if we can get rid of their square. Bye to that. Looks like we'll get rid of this Finns. Democratic square. Not that many democratic countries in the world left, apart from Estonia. You are the only one left, Estonia. You're the only one left. I don't know what I'm saying. Now we need to head over to... I just wanted to get a new colour. Not Britain. We're not going to Britain. Oh yeah, we need to go down here to Oceania. Oceania. I don't know who said that, but it just... That's what I always think of when I think of Oceania. Anyway, the Bengali country is really heightening their colonial ventures at this point, as they realize that they need as much money and power as they can get, and Oceania has quite a few resources in it. So they will expand into this, what it's called, the western, there we go, good job me, western region of Papua New Guinea, well done. Southern India is not as bothered with colonies. However, we do see the Chinese make a landing around here in Papua New Guinea, landing near the Bengali colony, but not quite in the same area, landing up here in the north. Is this the Bismarck Sea, this bit? The island of New England, New Ireland, all in the Bismarck Sea, which is located in Oceania and part of the nation of Papua New Guinea. I just love how colonialism works. Anyway, yeah, so that's the new border here. However, they're not done yet, because Bengal has been exploring. What is this? The Timor Sea? This one, the Coral Sea is over here. I don't know my Oceanic seas well enough, but yeah, they've been exploring this area, and what they discover as they colonize into this other southern part of Papua New Guinea is the nation of Australia. Not a nation yet. How they make a landing in this northern part, it's pretty deserty, but oh well, they'll live there. They set up their own colony in this territory. The southern Indians were very surprised. They're like, what? There's an entire other landmass. You know, they haven't circumnavigated this continent, but they realize it's pretty big. And yeah, the Bengali people start to colonize the entire continent of Australia. So by the end of the episode, then Bengal's fully colonized. No. They just take over the northern part. And that's where we're going to leave it for Bengal at the moment. Cool. Look at them. All continents of the world, apart from Antarctica, have people on them now. So, actually, we had that before. Papua New Guinea. Got people on it in the last episode. And people have been on Sulawesi for ages. So, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. This is good. Anyway, we can also go over here to the Russian area, because this red Russian country... Russia. Yeah. Good job. We'll be expanding really far into this northern area near Nenets. Is this the province of Nenets? Or is that kind of over there? No, I think this is Nenets. And Arkhangelsk is over there. Cool. I tried to look up a lot of different Russian provinces. Don't know why. Anyway, we also might do one final event, and it's a relatively small one. It's a small country. It's a very neutral country, and it's Southern Ireland, which is also Munster, I suppose. If you know Irish regions or historic countries. This country has 3 major cities, whilst the country that's going to be attacking them, which is of course actually this Swiss country, this yellow Irish country over here, maybe Limeish, they've got all of northern Scotland, along with a load of Ireland, like 2/3 of it. Yeah, you're not going to win this one. So the Irish start to move in, taking one major city very quickly, and they begin to spearhead down to the capital city. This country is more accurate, like Connaught. I don't know how to say its name. Yeah, I'm not great at Irish pronunciations. They're not terrible though. And they make a naval landing in the south, taking the final major city. This country had barely any military. If it existed in the modern era, it would be like a neutral country who probably just wouldn't even have a military. So yeah, it wasn't a very tricky war for the Irish, but they've now fully consolidated control over Ireland. Like the people in Munster are just like, okay, I guess we'll go along with you. You know, you're stronger. Our lives will probably be better under your rule. We'll just go along with that. And that's how that goes. So, Ireland's expanded their territory. They are, I think I said, the 11th strongest country in the world. They have a pretty huge colony. Look at all the stuff. Like, Jamaica used to be as rich as... they don't own Jamaica. Oops. You get the idea, though. Cuba was very rich in history. And the Irish are still making Cuba very rich. So, for that reason, yeah, this is cool. And as a final event in this video, we need to go over here to New York, because a certain somebody's just arrived in New York, and it's the Germans. Oh, damn it. Germany don't. This is Long Island. I'm not sure how much New York is on Long Island, because the entire state looks a bit like this. But the Germans have returned to North America, and they like to recreate their colony, just kind of off the coast of Poland. And yeah, that's today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a pretty fun one to record, I think. And yeah, I will see you again next time. Have a nice rest of your day. Goodbye.